What's going on, Salt Strong? I've had a lot of questions through the videos and even our little brief overview of the tiny boats, especially after doing the Salt Strong podcast all about tiny boats. And I've just had a lot of questions. So today I'm going to run through a little bit more in-depth overview on the world's cheapest John boat build, exactly what I have and exactly what you need to get out on the water and how much it costs. Mine is fairly decked out. As you can see, we've got the bow mount and we even have an electric outboard there on the stern, but all you really need is a basic trolling motor and a battery. But today I'm going to show you some stuff that I've got on my boat, some things that I recommend that you do, some things that I think is a little bit unnecessary, and of course the essential safety equipment that everybody needs on their small vessels. Some I just recommend and some is required by law. So it is going to be a broad overview, but this is all really good information for anybody looking to get off the bank, but they don't really want to use a kayak. They want to use something a little bit bigger. So we're going to go kind of from front to back here. So first of all, this boat is the Sun Dolphin American 12 John boat that I got from Tractor Supply on sale for $599. There's multiple other versions of it. There is a blue and gray version from West Marine. There is also a black and white version from Bass Pro called the Bass Pro Pond Prowler 12. And all three of those boats are actually identical. They're just different colors sold by different department stores. But for the most part, you're going to spend about $500 to $700 for a plastic 12-foot John boat just like this, regardless of the color. The lowest I've seen this go is $459, and that is a flat-out steal. But anyway, we're going to kind of move from front to back, show you everything and give you my thoughts. Okay, so up front we actually have a Minn Kota Endura trolling motor. But first of all, the reason I really like these plastic John boats, and one slight advantage that they have over the aluminum John boats, besides actually being a lighter boat, is, well, first of all, aluminum is a better material than plastic. No one's going to argue that, but since it is plastic, they did make up for it in some ways. Like this trolling motor bracket, it's actually rated for a 40-pound thrust, but going through the U.S. Coast Guard Customs, this boat was kind of dumbed down a little bit. In some countries, it's actually rated for higher things, higher weight capacities. We'll talk about it. But technically, this bow mount bracket is rated for a 40-pound thrust. This is, in fact, a 55-pound thrust Minn Kota Endura Max. So it's rated for a 40, but I run a 55 on it all the time. Now, some of these models actually have a bow mount trolling motor plug that runs through to the transom. Mine, unfortunately, doesn't. But as you can see here, I actually have a remote. So you can tell this is obviously not a standard Minn Kota. You'll see some footage of it, but this is actually an auto boat system. So it has spot lock, it has north heading, cruise control, and you can pre-program routes. I actually have a lanyard with the remote and all that stuff. It works with your phone. It's just like the Minn Kota iPilots that I have, and it's called the Autoboat Smart Head. It actually mounts directly on to any 30 to 55 pound thrust tiller model trolling motor. So if you do end up getting a tiny boat, but you still want all the high-end features of a bow mount trolling motor, well, pick yourself up an Autoboat system. So that is what I've got going on the bow of it. Because listen, I don't like fishing without spot lock. I'm spoiled without it. And for those of you that don't want to get the Autoboat system and you're just looking for a really good, affordable, and reliable saltwater motor for your inshore tiny boat missions, then I actually recommend this motor. I've had it for a very long time. I've had two of them. It is the Newport Vessels NV Series 46-pound thrust. It's just a basic tiller model and it's under $200. This is a really, really good option. It's above 30 pounds, which is really only ideal for ponds and small lakes, and it's less than 55 pounds, so it's not going to be as harsh on your little boat, and it simply isn't necessary. 46-pound Newport Vessels NV Series is a phenomenal option, and to increase your performance, for 20 bucks on Amazon, you can get yourself a clamp-on trolling motor rudder. But this is another option, and honestly, probably the best affordable option just to get started. Let's talk about batteries. So when it comes to trolling motors, you don't have to go all out. You can just go get yourself a 140-pound, 30-pound thrust. But if you're dealing with a lot of tide and current like me, I suggest at least a 46 to 55-pound thrust. But what we're actually going to do here is show you the box. So this is a battery box, and what's cool about this is you have the quicker connect terminals, you have an accessory port in case you need to charge something, as well as a USB port. So if your phone dies, your camera battery dies, this Newport battery box houses your main battery, and you just have some extra ports. But this is something that is going to protect your battery and make it easy to carry. This is one of those things that's not necessarily necessary. I just happen to really enjoy it. But inside of it, I'm going to have you can't really see too much of it. Oh, there we go. See if you can see any of that. This is a 100 amp hour lithium battery. It's from Lifetime, and it's the Bluetooth model. So it connects to my phone, and I can actually see in real time how much battery percentage I have, how much time is remaining on the water, how much time is charging, current wattage, voltage, amp draw, all the vital information. I don't check it a whole lot, but sometimes I'll take this boat out, you know, I won't charge it for a week or two, and I'm taking it out multiple times. I want to see how much time I have remaining on the water. So this is your first major tip. Get a lithium battery. If you have an outboard, you can get away with 50 amp hour, but a 100 amp hour lithium battery is going to outperform a 100 amp hour lead acid or AGM battery all day long. I won't get into the details, but you're gonna have about twice the runtime and half the weight. That's only a 20-pound battery. So major tip right there, get a lithium battery. Okay, so a couple things that we're gonna talk about really quick that I do think is worth the upgrade is this tan fake wood foam. I spent like 60 bucks on it on Amazon. It's EVA foam, and this is actually really functional. Sure, it looks pretty decent, but the reason that I did it all over all the flat surfaces is because when I stand on the bench, when I'm moving around, whenever I'm dropping things, setting down tackle, setting phones and keys and water bottles all over the place, it actually dampens the sound and dampens the vibration in the water. So when you're in a really shallow mud hole like this, it's a little bit windy today, but when it's clear and there's not a lot of wind, little subtle noises and vibrations can make all the difference between catching that spooky redfish that's right in front of the boat. So what I like to do is foam everything, dampen the noise and dampen the vibrations. And on the floor here, the black and white, this is actually an aluminum flooring kit. I won't get too much into it because it is pretty expensive. It's like $600 and something with the high-end hydro turf. I will say the flooring on this plastic boat, the Sun Dolphin, the Bass Pro, all these on the plastic John boats, they're actually really bad. They're ribbed and they kind of flex a little bit. So whatever you do, make sure you do some flooring. I had some horse stall rubber mat in here before, but Tiny Boat Nation hooked me up with this aluminum flooring kit with hydro turf, but people also use wood. So would I do the floors? I would do them, but this is really expensive option. Cutting in some plywood and putting some marine carpet on it will do the trick pretty well. But I also like the foam because it does dampen the vibrations a little bit. Of course, I do have a little $22 fish ruler. Not something that's totally necessary, but something that's nice to have, especially when we catch the bull reds. And I actually have an electric outboard. It's a 1.5 horsepower equivalent. It's actually rated for a 6 horsepower gas outboard. Some countries, this boat is rated for a 9.9. So you can push this thing and really get it going significantly faster than a kayak. But I have the e-propulsion e-light because it comes with a quick release transom mount bracket. It's only 14 pounds, and you see all our junk is here. There's no battery. The battery is actually integrated in this, and this will run us about 5 miles an hour. So it's definitely quicker than the trolling motor. It's lighter than the trolling motor and actually quieter. So this thing has been a pretty good addition, but it's obviously pretty expensive. If you could get yourself anywhere from a 4 to a 6 gas outboard, doesn't matter, you know, what it is, anywhere in that range above about 3.5, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to be moving pretty good in this boat. I would recommend a 6 if you can, but we just have a 1.5 because we don't usually go too far. Also, I've got 4 of these guys. These are just cheap plastic Amazon folding cleats. I don't use cleats a whole lot, but when you need them, it's really nice to have. None of these boats come factory with them. So I've got 2 here on the bow and 2 on the stern, but it's really nice because you can get in and out of the boat, whether you're swimming or jumping in or whatever. But when you need them, it's nice to have some cleats. So highly recommend these. A 4-pack cost me about less than 30 bucks. All right, that is pretty much everything that we have covered. Now let's talk about some of the safety features and some of the legal requirements. One, you're gonna want a sound producing device. Well, you're gonna need a sound producing device. Here in Florida, you're gonna need a whistle. I have a little, I think it's like a $15 can. It's called Better Boat. It's just an air horn. It's super loud. It's somewhere tucked way down in there, but any sort of sound producing device. You're also going to want a life jacket for every single person on board. So we have 2 life jackets there tucked into the kind of stern compartment. And you're also going to want an emergency paddle. So when we were getting into this hole, we were in probably, what do you say, 3 or 4 inches of water? I mean, way shallower than my kayak could get. I have 6 boats, or 3 boats, 3 kayaks. This is the only boat, I think, besides the inflatable that could get in here. It drafts shallower than a kayak because of the water displacement. Kayaks have keels, and this thing was in about 3 or 4 inches of water. So we were able to use our emergency paddle and get into our spot. But in case your trolling motor dies, in case your outboard breaks, or whatever it may be, sometimes things happen. We never leave the dock without a retractable emergency paddle. I have no recommended brand. They're all pretty much the same. This is a Better Boat, but they're all basically the exact same. I got a couple different brands and they're all made in the same factory. So an emergency paddle is absolutely crucial to paddle you back to shore, or maybe if you're too far from the boat ramp like we are today, if we're stuck out in open water, at least we can get back to shallow water. So never, ever, ever leave without an emergency paddle. Even my motorized kayaks, of course, they have paddles, so treat your boat the same. You never know what's gonna happen. So that's also pretty important. I would recommend a landing net. I prefer it. The reason I'm suggesting this one, the Cast King, is because first of all, it's pretty small. Bigger fish, I won't net, I'll just grab them. But it's also retractable, as you can see here. Wrong direction. It's caked in salt, but it's retractable and has a little baggie and does not take up much room on the boat at all. And that's why I like everything to be foldable or retractable. And the last item that I really want to suggest that I never hear anybody talking about, and something that I recommend the most, especially in these cheaper, smaller boats. You never know what's going to happen in these saltwater conditions. The lake guys, the pond guys, whatever. But us saltwater fishermen in these little boats, you want a bilge pump. Now, lots of people install automatic bilge pumps, but the problem with these boats is, unlike an aluminum, there is no through drain. So if you get stuffed, if you get a big wave over the bow, it's not going to drain to the transom. It's going to pool in the bow and in the middle of it, and then on that transom compartment. So that's a big, big, big flaw with this style of tiny plastic boat. So I don't care if you have a big boat, a small boat, having a non-electronic manual bilge pump is extremely crucial. So in case anything happens, you just stick it into the bottom of the boat, give it a few pumps, and this thing puts out a ton of water. I've actually had to use this before under a bridge on a really busy day. I was taking on some really good splashes actually on the stern there, and I had my trolling motor and battery, so it was a lot of weight going down there, and after a few pumps, I completely cleared all the water out. So I highly, highly suggest a manual bilge pump. There's all sorts of different brands. This is the standard size from Better Boat, but you can get whatever you want. And if you don't have spot lock, you can get yourself a cheap 5 to 10 pound grapnel style anchor. Works really good in these sandy environments with a 50-foot rope. You don't need anything longer than that unless you're going to be fishing in deeper water. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much the tour of the boat. But more importantly, the things that I think are worth your time and money, the things that are going to keep you safe, and the things that are going to keep you legal. I see a lot of tiny boat questions and a lot of tiny boat builds, and a lot of people get it wrong because it's a different world. But yes, you still have to treat it like a regular boat. This is registered just like a regular boat. Anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's Anyway, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed today's video and found it informational, and hopefully keep some people safe on the water, because I know we have an influx of new tiny boaters being introduced to Saltstrong. So anyway, guys, as always, tight lines and God bless.